Hey everyone, it's Jordan. Today I'm going to be doing the Moody Book Tag. So I found this tag like a few years ago from Bookable, so I'll link her video down below as well as the original video down below if there's one I haven't checked yet. I've been wanting to do this book tag for a while because it's all about mood reading, and I've been doing more mood reading lately, and I thought I would answer some of these questions, so let's get to the book tag. So the first question is, do you consider yourself as a mood reader? Yes and no. I do mood read a lot, but sometimes I literally just grab a book that I think I'm in the mood for, and then if I'm not, then I'll just set aside, and if I am in a mood for a certain book, I would just read it. So yeah, that's basic. I do a lot of mood reading when I'm on vacation as well, so because I have a lot of books on my Nooks, so I do a lot of mood reading when I'm traveling and stuff. So yeah, even though I do mood read like when I'm traveling and sometimes when I'm at home, so yeah, I am consider myself a mood reader, but it always depends on the book normally. So the next question is, do you set TBR lists and do you stick to them? Yes and no. It depends on the book usually. Sometimes when I'm in a reading slump, I try to pick like a lighter book to read, and if it's on my list, great. If it's not, then I just don't stick to my list. Sometimes if something speaks to me, I would grab it, but I do have a set TBRs, like mostly like just TBR possibilities, and then if I don't get to them, I just put them on the side like I mentioned with the first question, and sometimes if I'm in the mood for it, I would read it, but it always depends on what books I put on my TBR and if I'm in the mood to read them. So the next question is, do books affect you emotionally? Does the mood of a book rub it off on you? I think it depends on the book. Sometimes if I read maybe 50 pages of the book and then I just DNF it because I wasn't in the mood for it. But sometimes if I read, for my rule for DNFing books, if I reach at least 100 pages, and if I'm not liking the book, then I'm just gonna DNF it. And on holiday, that's usually how I do that, because I feel like the first 100 pages could be either good or decent or not so great, so I just do it that way. And sometimes it does affect my reading, just because I'm just I thought I was in the mood for that specific book, but then when I start reading, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll read something else. So yeah, it does affect me emotionally, because sometimes I get frustrated when there's a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, but I'm not in the mood to read. So yeah, it does affect me a lot. So the next question is, when you feel sad, do you like to read sad books, happy books, or neutral? Mostly happy books, because I don't like crying when it comes to books, just because if I'm traveling just for the sake of argument, and if I end up crying because certain character dies or something sad happened to the character, I don't want people to look at me weird and be like, what is her problem? Or oh, what is she crying about? Did something happen to her family or something like that? So, and plus especially with my husband, sometimes he's like, oh, it's over a character. Okay, so, but he's a supportive husband. He knows that I like to read, so yeah, I do mostly read happy books if I feel sad, because I don't like reading sad books when I'm reading sad books when I'm sad, because I'm it makes me not want to read it. So yeah, I go for the happy books instead. Okay, so the next question is, what is a book that made you laugh? Oh wait, sorry, that wrong question. I skipped a question there. How often do you use reading to escape, to learn, or to critically reflect? I use it to escape mostly, but sometimes if I mostly just read to escape mostly, just because sometimes if I have something going on in my life, I need something to keep my mind off of it, so I read a certain book, but it depends on the book always. So that's how I do it anyway. It just makes me feel a lot better for that reason. So yeah, I just read books to escape mostly. I only go critically if I feel like it, but I don't like being critical, but sometimes I have to voice my opinion sometimes, so yeah, I mostly just use reading for it to escape. Okay, so now I'm in a correct question. What is the book that made you laugh out loud? Oh boy, there's a lot that make me laugh out loud. I'm feeling a little too lazy to grab my books right now, so I know Beach Read kind of made me laugh. Get a Life of Chloe Brown. The Bromance Book Club, that definitely made me laugh. There's other books that made me laugh, but those are the ones I could think of on top of my head. Oh, instructions for dancing. I think that made me laugh. I'm pretty sure it did. A lot of mangas that I've read, some of them have made me laugh. So yeah, there's a bunch of books that I could answer for this question, but those are the ones I could think of on top of my head. And the next question is, what is a book that made you cry, or if you don't cry, a book that really moved you? I would say The Invisible Life of Eddie Rouleau. It really made me not only cry, almost made me cry for real. Like I said, I rarely cry when it comes to certain books, and it literally made me feel moved as well. So I'm just like, how can this happen to this character? Especially with the ending. I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but it's just made me feel but of course I still love that book. I know that Always and Forever Lara Jean also made me cry because I love those characters so much. Capturing the Devil, that also made me cry because I just love Audrey Rose and Thomas. Yeah, that's pretty much it for some of the ones that I could think of that literally made me cry. Even though some of Nicholas Sparks' books are usually make people cry, but for me, I haven't cried a single bit with Nicholas Sparks' books, but the books I mentioned previously did make me cry or almost cry or made me feel moved. Okay, so the next question is, what is a book that you didn't even know how you feel about? Man, usually for some of the ones that I don't know how I feel about is usually goes on my unhaul pile. Like those are the ones that I rated 3 stars or less, but mostly the 3 stars I just don't know how I felt. So I know with the last one, I don't know. I can't think of a single book that I would think that I don't know how I feel about it. There's some that I probably know how I definitely feel, but like I said, most of those books that I could think of were 3 stars, but I can't think of anything on top of my head. So that's pretty much the answer to my question, because I can't think of anything other than some of those books that I couldn't think of that I didn't know how I feel were 3 stars. Okay, so the next question is, are you more likely to read on a sunny day or a cloudy day? It always depends on the day. Sometimes if it's sunny out, like in the summertime, I don't feel like reading because I don't like sweating on my books because it gets so gross, and I don't want some of my hardcovers, especially the special edition ones, get ruined because of my sweatiness, so I don't usually do that unless I have like a fan that is on high if I'm sweating that much, so I do that. But with cloudy days, sometimes I just feel like doing nothing sometimes, but all I say is it depends on the season or the time of day, and if I feel like reading that day, because right now, I know it's sunny right now, and it's like almost 80 degrees outside, so most likely I would probably read an audiobook if I have that option, so I don't get my sweaty hands on my books. But other than that, I would choose either one of them, but like I said, it depends on the season and the time of day. And the next question, do you usually set the mood when you read? Music, lights, smells, etc.? Yes, I do. Sometimes I put on, like coffee shop music in the background from YouTube. I sometimes do that when I'm reading. Sometimes I light a candle, and that's pretty much it. Especially, but it depends on where I'm at in the house. Sometimes I don't usually light candles in my bedroom because I don't want to forget that it was lit up, but I usually, if I do read in my bedroom, I do set music to listen to while I'm reading, and then when I'm downstairs, I put music on and put candles on. So yeah, I am just really, that I usually do set the mood when I read sometimes, but it always depends on what I'm reading. And if I feel like putting on music or light a candle. So yeah, that's pretty much my answer to my question there. Okay, so the last question is, do you leap from book to book, or do you need a buffer time between them? Yes, and I do both, but it always depends on my reading mood. But sometimes I'm in a reading slump and I just feel like doing something else that is not reading. I usually give myself a time period to give myself a break from reading it, like from between books. But it always depends on how I feel, or if there's any books that are speaking to me. I know I'm trying to get out of a rain slump right now because I haven't finished a single book for the last 2 weeks, and it's just a little frustrating, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, don't treat reading like a chore, because I hate doing that, because I know some people just want to be competitive with reading for certain people, but for me, I'm just like, I want to enjoy reading, like, especially, like, I know there's some people that would try to read a hyped book as soon as it comes out, but for me, I'm just like, if I want to read it, I want to read it at my own time, not like as soon as it comes out, because it's just how I do it anyway. And a lot of times I just want to do other hobbies that I do, like playing board games with my husband, or playing video games, or just watching YouTube videos that has nothing to do with reading. I watch, like, YouTube videos about Disney World, Disneyland, etc. So, or just watch Disney movies in general. I do sometimes read while I'm watching a Disney movie, but sometimes I just want to read. I just want to watch the movie without any distraction. So, I usually do a little bit both. What was the question? I'll leap from book to book, or need buffering time in between. So that kind of answers the second part of the question, but yeah, sometimes I just give myself a little reading break if I feel like it's a bit too much for me, until I feel like picking up a book again, or try to pick like lighter books for me. Like, even though I like take my time with reading, sometimes it depends on the book, but most of the time I'm like, I do need a break in between books. It depends on what book I've read, or if it put me in a big reading slump that I just didn't feel like reading, or like I had a book hangover, but it always depends. But yeah, I do need a break in between books most of the time. Okay, so that's all for the Moody Book Tag. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and comment down below if you're a mood reader, or if you're not a mood reader, because I would like to know. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon so you know if I ever post new videos. Also, you can follow me on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, which all links will be down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!